there everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So for this rather fun tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this frilly coaster. Now I'm going to show you this size. I've used a chunky yarn, and this is just the perfect size for a lovely coffee coaster. I've also made up a smaller one using Lily Sugar and Cream cotton. Now this was made using a 4.5mm hook, but this is fantastic. I use these for a lovely candle coaster. Now wouldn't this look fantastic in a nice red yarn for Valentine's Day? But as I say, this is the one that I'm going to show you how to hook up. I'm going to start off by showing you the magic ring or circle, whatever you like to call it. We're going to be working in the spiral, so that's just something new for you to learn. And then I'm going to show you how to do this lovely frilly effect. It just adds a little bit of fun. So there you go. I'm going to show you what you need. Now for this tutorial, I'm going to be using this Stylecraft special chunky yarn. It's 100% acrylic, and this one is the colourway Storm Blue. I'm going to be using my 6mm Clover and More hook. They're my favourite hooks to use. This is also a size J. You're going to need a stitch marker, also a darning needle for your ends, and then a small pair of scissors. So we're going to start off by using the magic ring or magic circle, whichever you prefer to call it. Now if you have your own certain way of doing this, now go ahead and do that. This is just the way that I do mine. So I start off with having my tail end in front. I'm going to wrap around those two fingers, and then I'm coming slightly across. Then I take my hook, go underneath, grab that yarn, pull it through. Then I'm going to take my fingers out, make sure I have the working yarn. Then I just do a chain there to just secure that. Now this tail end I tend to then unravel. And then if I pull on my tail end here, you should see that that centre is going to just close up nicely. Okay, I'll pull that out again because we need to work in this centre here. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to count this chain that's on that I've done already. I'm going to put in this centre 10 UK doubles. Now that's 10 US singles. So just to recap, a UK double is push through, grab that yarn, pull it through, so I have 2 loops on my hook, grab the yarn and pull through 2. So that's 1. Let's do another one. Push through, grab the yarn. As you can see, I'm working over this tail end. I have 2 loops on my hook, grab the yarn, pull through. So that's 2. Show you another one. Grab the yarn, pull through. So I have 2 loops on my hook, grab the yarn, pull through 2. So I have done 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put another 7 in this centre. Now we're not going to slip stitch to join, so just meet me back here when you've put your other 7 in. You'll have 10 stitches in total. So I've put my 10 stitches in. If you're unsure, just look down on those V's so you can count your way back round to this first stitch here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So this is the first stitch here that I want to work into. We're not doing a slip stitch. What we're going to do now is start round 2 by putting 2 double crochets in this stitch here. So there's my first one, and then in the same stitch you're going to put another one. Now, once we've done that, we've started our round 2, what you can do is then pull on this original tail end and you will see it closes the middle up nicely. Okay, what I also want to do, so that I know exactly where round 2 has started, so remember I've just done 2 stitches of round 2, I'm then going to pop my stitch marker in the first stitch, and I'm going to use this each time we start another round. So going all the way around these 10 stitches, I'm going to be putting in each stitch 2 UK double crochets. So just to recap, that's US singles. So I put 2 in that one, 1, 2 in that one, and I'm going to do this all the way around, so I know that this is where I began. So my last stitch will be this one here. You should end up at the end of round 2 with 20 stitches. So here I am at the end of round 2, so I've counted back, counted all those V's, I have 20 stitches. So here we go with round 3. I'll just take that out for the moment. So I know where our first stitch is, that's where the stitch marker came out of. I'm just going to put in 1 double crochet, then again, you can either do that by taking out your hook. Again, what I'm going to do is mark that first stitch with my stitch marker. Okay, so I know where I started. So in the first stitch we did 1 double crochet. In the second stitch we're going to put in 2 double crochets. So that's 1 and 2. In the next stitch we're going to put 1 double crochet. In the next stitch we're going to do 2. So that's 1 and 2, and that's how we're going to go all the way around. We're going to do in the next stitch 1, in the next stitch we're going to put 2, and then just carry on all the way around, putting 1 stitch, 2 stitches, 1 stitch, 2 stitches all the way around until this final stitch here. You should end up at the end of round 3 with 30 stitches. So again, at the end of round 3, I've checked round, I have 30 stitches. Now just a tip that you know you're on the right track, as we start each round on just a single stitch, you will end each round doing an increase, which is the 2 stitches. So I finished on 2 stitches, I have 30 stitches. So we're going to start round 4. Now we're literally again going to put 1 double crochet in that first stitch. Then I pop my stitch marker back in. Now the next stitch we're again just going to put 1 double crochet. In the next stitch we're going to put 2 double crochets. Okay, then in the next 2 stitches we're going to have 1 stitch in each, and in the next stitch we're going to put 2 stitches in. So for round 4 this is how we're going to go. We're going to go 1 stitch, 1 stitch, 2, 1 stitch, 1 stitch, 2, all the way around. Again, you should end up with 40 stitches. So here we are at the end of round 4. We have 2 more rounds to go. I have just finished on an increase, which is a 2 stitch. I'm going to start again. So in the next stitch, I'm going to do 1 double crochet. Then before I forget, which is easily done, I put my stitch marker back in. Okay, and then in the next 2 stitches, so we've already put 1 double crochet, I'm going to put 1 double crochet in the next stitch and in the next stitch. Then I'm going to do an increase by doing 2 doubles in the next stitch. You can see how this is working now, can't you? So what I need you to do is do single stitches in the next 3, then do an increase with 2 stitches. Then it's 3 singles, and then an increase, 3 singles, then an increase, going all of the way around. Once we've got to the end of round 5, you should have 50 stitches. So I finished round 5 with 50 stitches. I'm going to do one more round of these double crochets. So I'm going to start again by putting 1 double crochet in that first stitch. And again, I'm just going to mark that with my stitch marker. Then I'm going to do, you've guessed it, another 3 stitches, so making 4 doubles in a row. And then you will have worked this out by now. We are going to do in the next stitch 2 stitches, so that's an increase. Then you're going to do 4 stitches, increase, 4 stitches, increase, all the way around. You should finish this round 6. You should have 60 stitches going around. So I finished my round 6. I've got 60 stitches going all the way round, and I've now finished the centre of my coaster. Now I just want to bring this around here a little. If I just take my stitch marker out, okay, there we go. Oops, it got caught up there. Now I just want to make this a little bit more rounded here. So what I'm going to do, in the next stitch, I'm going to do a double crochet. Okay, in the next stitch, I'm just going to do a slip stitch. And pull through the loop that's on your hook. And then we are going to start round 7 in this stitch here, and what I want to do is do a slip stitch in just that back loop only. So if you look down on your V's, so here are your V's, I want to work through this back loop only. I'm going to do a slip stitch, so push through, grab the yarn through and the one that's on your hook, and this is where we're going to start our round 7. What I'm also going to do, just taking that stitch marker in the front loop of that first stitch, I'm going to put my stitch marker so I know where I'm going to finish and start. Okay, so here we go with round 7. So round 7 is going to be worked in the back loops of all the stitches going around, and here is what we're going to do. We're going to do a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And then in the next stitch around, going in that back loop, I'm going to do a slip stitch. Okay, so you're just slip stitching in the stitch. Next, I'm going to do another chain of 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. And then in that next stitch across, I'm going to do a slip stitch. And this is simply what we're going to do all the way around. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. oops, my yarn's sticking, and then it's a slip stitch. Okay, so nice and simple, making up these loops. So we're starting to get our little frilly effect here. So working in just the back loops only all the way around, you're going to do a chain of 6 slip stitch, chain of 6 slip stitch all the way round until we're back here. So I've gone all the way around. Now I've ended with a chain 6 up, okay, but I've gone all the way around and you can see we already have a nice frilly effect. What I tend to do is lay my coaster down and then just using my fingers, I'll just push out our inside part, so our flat part, and you can see it makes these frilly bits sort of pop up. So face up. Now what we're going to do, because I do hope you enjoyed doing the chain 6 stitches, because we are going to do exactly the same. Now you can see that I've got all the way around just using those back stitches. Now here is where we started, and I have my stitch marker in the front loop of that stitch. So literally we're going to start again. So I've already done my chain 6 up. So where my stitch marker was, I'm going to push through the front loop of that stitch, do a slip stitch. Okay, and we are going to work all the way around. So you should be able to see there's a nice ridge here. These are the front loops. So we do our chain up of 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then what I find the best way is push this frilly part down so that we're not going to get our hook caught up in it. And then I'm just going to push through that loop. It's a little bit tighter than before. If you struggle, just get your darning needle and just push them out a little bit. So push through, grab that yarn and the one that's on my hook, slip stitch. And that's what we're going to do all the way around. You will, once you come round to the beginning, you can see that you will run out of these stitches, so you will know that you're back around to the beginning, or you could again just pop your stitch marker in there if you're unsure. So go all the way around doing those chain 6 and slip stitches. So I've gone all the way around working in those front loops. I've done my final slip stitch, and then all I'm going to do now is cut my yarn. Now normally I chain 1 up here and then pull the yarn through, but I'm not going to do that. I want to knot this off on the bottom of the coaster. So literally you're just going to pull your yarn through. Okay, and then we're going to take this end through the other side. Now, don't worry, it might look like a bit of a curly mess, but as I say, what we do is just lay this centre part down flat, and then you're going to push using your fingers all the way around that centre part, the flat part of your coaster. And then we can have a little bit of a play around with the frill, but I will show you a tip on how to make this keep its shape in just one moment. As what I want to do first is thread my darning needle. Okay, and find my last stitch was here. So it's a little bit loose. What I want to do is go over here to the left, push through so that I come out on the back side, and then just pull my yarn through, and that brings any loose loop down. And then what I'm going to do is weave in the ends on the back of my coaster. So just using these loops, I'm just going to go through. So I'm going to go through one way. So remember, this is the back, and people really aren't going to see the bottom of your coaster unless they're really, really picky. And then using loops, go back the other way. And then, you know me, I like to use that rule of 3. I'm going to go back again. And you know me again, I always leave too long a length. Okay, so I'm happy that that end is nicely woven in. So what I want to do now is cut off close to your work, but just don't snip your work at all, because otherwise you'll end up with a hole. And there you go. Now I'm going to weave in this end. If you remember, right at the beginning, we worked over this end, so I count that as one way. I'm going to weave this end this way, back on itself, and then I'm going to snip that yarn. Now what I also do, you don't have to do this, but I just like to make this so that it keeps its shape nicely, is I have pinned all the way around the outside of our centre part where we were doing our double crochets. I've just pinned it around so I have a nice circle. And then what I'm going to do is just give it a quick spray with either some spray starch or some hairspray. If you don't have starch, that's just fine. I'm just going to leave that to dry, and that will keep its shape really nicely. So there you go, your fabulous frilly coaster. What a perfect project for the weekend. Now I've just had a thought. When we have finished going out and out with our double crochets, you could then fasten off, and then before you do your frill, just join with another colour. You could even do 2 different colours. That will be very effective. So if you enjoyed this video, then please do give me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed down below, and I will see you here next time. Bye bye.